I wanted to share a little bit of something that I'm really very passionate about, which is anthropology. And I don't think that a lot of people have been exposed to anthropology. And it's just something that I find really, really interesting. And so I wanted to spend a little bit of time in a series of videos just sharing a little bit about the mindset of an anthropologist. Now, around 2016 or so, I actually a little bit before that, I decided, I wanted to get a degree. I didn't have one at the time. And I knew that if I was going to be working and studying, I wanted to do something that I felt really interested in and really passionate about because I knew it would be really stressful trying to manage working and studying at the same time. And so I knew right from the onset that something like finance just wasn't going to be that thing, even though I was working for a financial services company at the time. And so I had a look at the list of BA modules that the BA degree offered, and I knew I wanted to study psychology. There's absolutely no question about it, mainly because I just grew up with those kind of conversations around the dinner table. So I thought it would be really easy for me to get my degree in psychology. But I had to choose two majors. And I was really stuck between sociology, philosophy, religious studies, and then I came across anthropology. And I began to read up a little bit about it. And I don't know, it's somewhere deep in my psyche. I always wanted, I love the thought of being, on a site, digging up, being this adventurer. But archaeology just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't grab me. But when I read about anthropology, which is essentially the study of culture, and I get into it a little bit later on. I fell in love with it, and so I took it up. Graduated several years later, cum laude in anthropology. Just missed it with the psychology, which I'm still a little bit sad about. But yeah, so I just I fell in love with the way in which they see the world, how they're taught to be observers, and they've got something called participant observation, which in another video I'll go into a little bit of depth around that and why that is such a beautiful and important skill in this day and age. And then when possible, you have to suspend judgment, you tread lightly, and above all, develop a deep curiosity for the subject matter, often regardless of how outside of your comfort zone you are. It's really the best anthropologists that I've read and became famous, really. They operated from a place of authenticity, so they didn't lose themselves into the culture that they were embracing at the time, or observing, or participating in, but they went really deep, so kind of like an actor does. And then the requirement afterwards is really to report back, is the feedback. And when you start to read how these people engaged in these communities, even where these things that they might have experienced were very outside of their particular norms, they still were able to articulate what they experienced with an enormous amount of grace. And so I deeply respect the field. And that's when I knew I was an anthropologist at heart. So just very quickly, like I said, anthropologists study culture, which in really plain terms means the way we do things around here. Now, we are a little bit blind, I think, to those ways. They are just typically habits. And we don't see what an observer, an outside observer, would see of our own lives, of our family, of the culture, the society at large, or even our business culture. And there's, it's amazing, there's different levels of culture, or there's different levels of the way we do things. As I said, as an individual, then so the view of self, then it's our family system, then it could be our little town that we're in. It could be, the society at large, the country, etc. And so, we have to develop this space where we shift to the observer, which means that we have an opportunity to change our perspectives and uncover new possibilities. So for a minute, we suspend our own identity and we offer ourselves an opportunity to immerse in something different to us and to what we know. And often that results in a deeper sense of compassion, empathy, and an open mind, and in many cases, even non-judgment. It's an amazing space to operate from, especially as we see so much difference around us. And the more what really becomes fascinating is the more you diversify and you experience different things in your life, what I've come to realize is that the outward expression of who we are, there are a million and one ways, and that's super unique to each individual, unique to each culture, unique to even business. But ultimately, deep down inside, the reasons why we do those things are the same. And so it's there in that place that we find a sense of connectedness. And so I've donned the anthropologist hat and chased breadcrumbs down many rabbit holes as I eagerly explore interests. And so my adventures have enriched me in countless ways. And I'm hoping that as I share a little bit more about anthropology and the anthropological mindset, and I'll be looking to do a review a little bit of how to apply those concepts and ideas to the self, because ultimately we have a culture of self, right? Anthropological view of self that you will find some interesting new perspectives. I also have a blog or newsletter that I'm going to be starting soon. So if it's something that you would like to read, where I share a little bit more about my adventures specifically, especially since I've been in Portugal, some really interesting stuff there, then message me and I'll get you onto the mailing list. Just send me your email address. Yeah, and any feedback in the comments is always is much appreciated.